Hi, and welcome to Community Crafting with your local library. Today we're going to be making a ladybug, which I have right here. So some of the things that we're going to need today, we got a set of spoons. I have some markers. I'm going to start by coloring both sides of the top of the spoon. This one will be red. And if it's not perfect, that's okay. We call accidents happy accidents. I have lots of happy accidents. It's okay. All right, we're almost done. And we're gonna keep going. Just fill in the little holes if you missed anything. And we're gonna keep going until we have something that looks roughly like this. Through the magic of video, we've already finished a few of our other pieces that we're gonna need. It's the same basic idea, but we've got a few others in addition to the ones that we just did. If you'd like to do something that's transparent, or that's the only type of spoons that you have on hand, you can do that as well. Here's an idea of what it looks like. But now we'll be moving on to cutting our piece. Remember before we did not color the handle, that's because we're going to be cutting that right here. For this piece, I'm going to cut a little bit of the side off, unlike the other red one, because this is going to be part of the wing that's underneath. It doesn't matter which side, it's just going to determine which one of the two wings it is. So I'm going to get my shears here. And of course, when you do this, you want to be wearing some sort of protective glasses. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to cut carefully at the base of the spoon. It's a little jagged, that's okay. And I am going to cut along the edge here.
Yeah, you're gonna cut at an angle, sort of?
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna cut at an angle, like this.
Yeah, that's fine.
I took a little bit more off than I probably wanted to, but
you wanna cut this too?
that's okay because it's gonna be underneath. So I'm also gonna cut off this kind of trailing edge here. All right. There we go. Let me get rid of some of that. All right, now it's time for assembly. We've got our glue gun here. And my goal is gonna be to take this more complete top wing. I'm gonna find out where that lies on top. I'm gonna apply some glue underneath. And then you have a few seconds after you applied the glue to kind of move things where you'd like them positioned. So I'm gonna start by applying some glue to this spot here. All right, that looks good. And I'm gonna set this down here. I'm going to, there we go. And I think that looks good. So I'm gonna let that set for a few moments. All right, so I've got my two wings attached. I'm going to sort of attach this, the body here underneath. So I'm gonna identify this spot, and I'm thinking I'm gonna put some glue here on this kind of rough edge on the lower wing, and maybe a little bit of glue on top of here. So let's do that. And using a generous amount of glue is okay. All right. I'm gonna apply some here as well. And I'm going to attach this down here. Flip it over. Position it, even it out a little bit. I think that looks good. Okay, now for the kind of last major structural piece, we've got the head here. And the goal is you just want it to peek out a little bit. So I'm gonna kind of line this up to see where where it is, it's gonna sit on the finished piece. And so I'm gonna apply a little glue here and a little glue here. Let's start with that. All right. And on my piece here, I'm gonna apply some glue. Okay. And I'm just gonna sort of massage them into place. Flip it over to make sure everything's looking okay. It's a little uneven, so I'm gonna shift it around here. That's looking okay. All right, now we're gonna attach our antennae. So we've got one here to give you a basic idea of what it's gonna look like. Basically, we're gonna turn this piece of metal here, give it a bit of a L shape, and we're gonna wanna hook over, create a little hook on the top there. For that, we're gonna use these needle nose pliers. And I'm going to carefully try to bend this over, something like that. If you wanna hook it a little bit more, we can try to compress it with the pliers. I like that. So now we're going to be sticking that underneath here, but we're going to apply some glue to this first. I'm going to get my glue gun without getting glue on myself, which I've sort of already failed at, but just a little bit of glue on there. And I'm going to carefully stick the antenna underneath here. There we go. And I might have to reposition this a little bit while it dries. There you go. We're almost done, but would our ladybug be without eyes? So a blind ladybug, that's what. So we're gonna use our toothpick here and some of this acrylic paint. You don't need a lot, we just have the cap here. You can dip the tip of your toothpick in the cap of white paint. And I'm going to very gingerly apply some eyes. And you can see I'm barely touching it. I can use stand a little bit more here. A little googly, but that's okay.
Okay, so as you've seen, my coworker completed a ladybug for you using plastic spoons. And playing off of the same or similar method, we are going to do a bonus, and you're going to see how to put together a butterfly or a reasonable facsimile. There's many versions, as you're aware, of butterfly patterns and things, so bear with me. This is only one very questionable version. But going forward, this is a method of coloring the wings. Where's my markers? And I need a pencil. So this is where your other supplies come in. As you can see, I started this one, and using a pencil, you can sort of draw on the spoon and have it show up reasonably well, as I just penciled the table. And using a pencil, you can easily erase any marks that may or may not be needed. So I'm going to finish this one, and let's bring these in. We're going to add a circle, 2 circles in the center of this one. So hopefully, or close to a circle. I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it. And we're gonna do a smaller one. So hopefully the camera can pick that up. And we're going to start coloring the design. And depending on the plastic of the spoon you're using, it may or may not take the color the exact same as in the demos. This one is very different than the demos that you'll see. Up close, it almost looks like somewhat of a watercolor, where you can see more of the striations in the way the plastic was when they molded the spoon. So, wow, that's not very circular. Sorry, let me adjust this just a bit, and we'll give it back for the camera. That's better. That little bit of finer detail is a little challenging when you've got eyesight like mine. So there's where we've added the purple. We're gonna add, not the orange, we're gonna add the pink. And we're trying to avoid that center because we're gonna try and make it black. And you'll have to forgive me, I'm gonna bring it closer. Okay, so there's that. And black. Black for the center. Now for this, we are using Sharpie markers. In theory, you could use other markers. We have not tried those, so you may end up with a different result. Or you may try paint. We've not tried that, but we were really pleasantly surprised with how the Sharpies did. So now I'm going to color the purple on the end, and you'll see how, well, before I finish it, the one side, you'll see the pencil mark to designate where I want it to stop. But then on the underside, you want to color it as well. And it's opaque, but it's a bit translucent where you can see the curve so that you kind of stop in the same spot. So that's what I wanted you to see before I actually went ahead and finished coloring the tip. And in doing so, you also want to make sure you get the very edges so that if you're really inspecting it, you don't see much of the white. Now, some of you may be saying, well, I could just buy them the color that I think I want. And that's true, you can. But this, if you're a little more creative and you don't want to spend the money, and you have these at home, you can certainly color them any color you choose. Let's see. You do want a relatively high quality marker. That's why we were going with what we had, which was Sharpie. There are other brands and other styles, so let me get that last little bit. So that's what that version looks like. We can add more orange because the underside looks a little funky because I missed some. So we're gonna fill in the spots. And again, I don't know if we can get closer, but the striations on the plastic, at least on the convex side, which is this side, I'm gonna turn it. You can see how the plastic took the color differently on this one than some of the others that we have. And through the magic of video, we have these other versions finished, and we're gonna we're gonna remove the handle off of this one. This is where you want your safety glasses and your trash can. So I'm gonna come out of the frame and cut this, and then we'll come back in. And these are your more than standard scissors because the plastic, the way it is. And how that's white, you definitely want to color the rough edge with Oh, if it won't stick to my hand with your marker before you glue it so that you don't have any of the edges showing. And any space you think you need to touch up, go ahead and do that now. All right, so we'll give that a moment to dry. And at some point, the handle that you removed, which would have been this one, you can color the body if you choose. Back to our original, we colored this one black. So I thought for a change of pace, we would color this one silver. Starts out white and then you just use a marker to color. We're gonna bring in our antenna, which are the ornament hooks. Get these out of the way. And to try and get the antenna look, we're gonna just do a slight hook at the end of the wire. So let's move these out of the way. This can go that way. And this is where your pliers will come in unless you're very good with your hands. You just grab the end. And I don't know if this is good, but we're gonna try. Once you get it somewhat of a hook, you're just gonna squeeze it. Well, if I can turn it the right way. There. And I just want a little more. So we're going for that on both. And it doesn't have to be exact or perfect even. So let's try it again with this one. I'm just gonna grab the end and do a curl. And then we're gonna squeeze. And maybe a little bit more. Oh, that's pretty good. And then with the hook facing away from you, and I'm gonna put it toward the camera, you just kind of want to do a bit of an L shape because this piece, this is where the top of it is, right? It's gonna stick up above what would be the head. So it's gonna go underneath. So you kind of want something like that. You can bend it whichever length you want, but just make sure that the hooked piece is up so that it resembles, and then you can reposition and make it less angular or more angular after it's in place. So now we're going to somewhat shape the other one. We've got our body and we are going to begin assembly. So these we kind of want this way. Yeah. So our glue gun. And as a glue stick rolls into frame. All right, so we're gonna put some glue here on the edge. And let's see. That looks kind of close. You want it kind of angled up. You don't want it flat, so to speak. And you have to hold it a few seconds till the glue somewhat sets. It may take it a little bit longer depending on how much glue you used, which I used probably too much. We can always add more later. So kind of like watching paint dry. There, that's pretty good. Maybe not. How's that? Does that look? Let's get in there. And you can figure out what kind of angle you want your wing. You want it up more, you want it more level, it's fine. All right. Now, let's see if we can put this one on. Okay. Now. And we are going to do that for all the wings. I'm going to start with the top two. And because I didn't use as much glue, it's going a little bit faster. Now, let's see if we can get this one. And you may see where you want to trim more off of the other wings. This one will be all right. If you do end up trimming more off of the wing, just remember to add your color to the rough edge. Let's see here. Okay. And you can see where I'm adding some of the glue to the underside just to give it a little more support. And then we're going to add the final one, which we're going to put something like that. Let's flip it this way. Well, now that I've done that. Okay, there. All right, so now so this is what we have without the antenna. So now we're going to add them. And I think it's easier if you put it upside down because you need to run your glue on the underside. And then you're going to lay the wire in there. So you need the hook. This little hooky piece is going to be almost against the table or whatever it is that you're working on. So we're just going to lay it in the glue. And I'm trying to follow the line of the spoon. And it's not cooperating. So we're going to get this, force it in there. And then we're going to get this other one. And we're going to put it on the other side. Before the glue dries, hopefully. Oh, maybe. There. And I did it upside down, so just rotate it. Okay. Whoops. And if the glue hardens, just add more glue. That's how that goes. Push that in there a little bit more. So, again, just gonna add some more glue. Make sure they're nice and secure. And then we're gonna shape them. All right. So, it's gonna look kind of messy on the underside, but you get the idea. We can rotate it and move it whichever way we need. But You'll see that the hooks are mostly in position. So now it's giving it time, being patient enough to let the glue dry. Just gonna push it down a little bit if I can. Nope. It's pretty much set. That's all right. It's all good. So now this is what we have, which is the antenna. And again, you can make these straighter, more bent, however you choose. This is what we have. And you can color yours any fashion you like, any design. On the wings, you can make the body color black like this one, silver like this. I'm just going to rotate it for you. But hopefully this will inspire you to be creative with whatever you have in your own home. And we thank you for joining us in yet another installment of Community Crafting with your local library.